markets globally. That's a risk factor. And the labor shortage risk. Now, this is quite important. It shows that our cabinet is on top of our game, because we didn't expect that the IMF would have identified that we could end up with a labor shortage risk. And as you know, we had taken a decision in the 2022 budget to offer an amnesty to the individuals who are living here and out of time. And we did say that, look, we want to bring them within the labor pool, the formal labor pool, to ensure that will have the supporting labor. Because when you're growing a country's economy by 8%, it calls for increased labor. As you know, the factors of production are capital, labor, and land. And as we continue to attract investments, or even through government borrowings and utilizing land, we're going to need labor. And we had recognized that we could end up with a shortage. And as a consequence, we said, look, rather than having these people here living informally and they can't get a proper job, they have to be operating within the informal economy. Let us give them the opportunity to get their time up to date. But one of the things we recognize, Senator, from previous amnesties is that when they would have been given the amnesty and they go into immigration, many of them have outstanding fees of $10,000, $15,000 and they can't afford it. So you find that even though it would have created opportunity for them to regularize their time in the country, that they are unable to do so. So as a consequence, the cabinet has agreed that they will waive all outstanding fees to allow these residents to regularize their status in the country and to be part of the formal labor pool. And by so doing, we're not going to lose anything, because they still have to pay for their temporary residence if they're resident here for 4 years. And they still have to pay for the citizenship if they've been resident here for 7 years. But we don't think that, having these artificial impediments in the way that will be helpful. And why push them for fees that they cannot afford to pay? You're not going to earn it anyway. But if you remove that impediment by waiving those fees, which they cannot afford to pay, then they'll be able to pay a small amount, maybe $2,000, including all the fees to become a citizen, compared to having to find $10,000, $15,000 to cover arrears. So we have had to, pursue that issue from a very pragmatic standpoint, and that is why we decided to waive the fees, and again to ensure that we have an adequate labor pool to deal with the significant increase in economic activities that we'll see within the upcoming months and years.